I have read many articles and books about whether God exists, but none of them gave me a very clear answer. Recently, I found one book that really caught my attention. There's a chapter about God that made a lot of sense to me. The book was written by Stephen Hawking. If you know his work, you know he explains things in a very straightforward way. Let me share it with you in even simpler terms. To make a universe, you need three ingredients. The first is matter, the stuff that has mass. Matter is all around us, in the ground beneath our feet and out in space. The second thing you need is energy. We all know what energy is, something we encounter every day. If you look at the sun, you can feel it on your face. The third thing is space. I mean, lots of space. Wherever we look, we see space stretching in all directions. So where could all this matter, energy and space come from? We had no idea until the 20th century. The answer came from the inside of one man, probably the most remarkable scientist who has ever lived. His name is Albert Einstein. Einstein realized something extraordinary, that two of the main ingredients, mass and energy, are basically the same thing. So instead of three ingredients, now we have two. So where does this space and energy come from? The answer was found after decades of research. Space and energy were spontaneously invented in an event called the Big Bang. At this moment, an entire universe came into existence. But how does an entire universe just simply appear out of nothing? For some, this is where God comes into the picture. It was God who created energy and space. But science tells a different story. The secret lies in one of the strangest facts about our cosmos. The laws of physics entail something called negative energy. To help you understand this concept, just imagine a man wanting to build a hill on a flat piece of land. The hill will represent the universe. To make this hill, he digs a hole in the ground and uses that soil to make his hill. But of course, he's not just making a hill, he's also making a hole, a negative version of the hill. The stuff that was in the hole has now become the hill. This is the principle behind what happened at the beginning of the universe. When the Big Bang produced massive amounts of energy, it also produced the same amount of negative energy. This way, the positive and the negative adds up to zero. So where is this negative energy today? It's in the third ingredient of the cosmic equation. It's in space. So how does this answer the question of whether there's a God? According to Stephen Hawking, if the universe adds up to nothing, then you don't need a God to create it. But who triggered the whole process in the first place? What could cause the spontaneous appearance of a universe? Because in our daily lives, things don't just appear out of the blue. You can't just click your fingers and summon a cup of coffee. You need beans, water, milk and sugar. However, if you travel into this coffee cup through milk particles down to the atomic level and right down to the subatomic level, you enter a world where creating out of nothing is possible, at least for a short while. That's because at this scale, particles such as protons behave according to quantum mechanics, and they really appear at random. They will stick around for a while and then vanish to reappear somewhere else. We all know that the universe itself was once very small, maybe smaller than a proton. This means the universe could simply have popped into existence without violating the known laws of nature. From that moment on, vast amounts of energy were released as space expanded. But again, the critical question is raised. Who could create the quantum laws that allow the Big Bang to occur? Our everyday experience has made us think that everything that happens must be caused by something that occurred earlier. So it's natural for us to think that God must have created the universe. But Stephen Hawking has a different view. Imagine a river flowing down the mountainside. What causes the river? Well, it must be the rain that fell earlier. But what causes the rain? A good answer would be the sun that lifts the water from the ocean. So what causes the sun to shine? If we look inside the sun, we see the process known as fusion, in which hydrogen atoms join to form helium, releasing vast energy. But where does the hydrogen come from? The answer is the Big Bang. But here's the crucial bit. The laws of nature itself tells us that not only could the universe pop into existence without assistance, it could require nothing in terms of energy. It is possible that nothing caused the Big Bang, just nothing. The explanation lies back with the theories of Einstein. Something wonderful happened at the instant of the Big Bang. Time itself began. To understand this concept, consider a black hole floating in space. A black hole is a star so massive that it has collapsed on itself. Not even light can escape its gravity, which is why it's black, because you can't see the light coming out of the black hole. Its gravitation pull is so powerful that it not only distorts light but also time. Imagine a clock being sucked into it. As the clock gets closer and closer to the black hole, it begins to get slower and slower. It's not the mechanics of the clock, but time itself begins to slow down. Now imagine the clock as it enters the black hole. Assuming it could withstand the pressure, time would actually stop. Again, it's not because it's broken. Inside the black hole, time itself doesn't exist. As we travel back in time toward the Big Bang, the universe gets smaller and smaller until it finally comes to a point where the universe is a space so small and dense like a black hole. Here too, time itself must come to a stop. You can't get to a time before the Big Bang because there was no time before the Big Bang. We have finally found something that doesn't have a cause because there was no time for a cause to exist in. According to Stephen Hawking, for me, this means that there is no possibility of a creator because there is no time for a creator to have existed in. Hawking said, people want to answer big questions like why we are here. They don't expect the answers to be easy, so they are prepared to struggle a bit. When people ask me if a God created the universe, I tell them that the question itself makes no sense. Time didn't exist before the Big Bang, so there is no time for God to make the universe. It's like asking for directions to the edge of the earth. The earth is a sphere that doesn't have an edge. I think when we die, we return to dust, but there's a sense in which we live on, in our influence and in our genes that we pass on to our children. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe, and for that I am extremely grateful.